Good morning. I'm technically doing paperwork. I go to my parents' place. But Marie play with them while I do paperwork at their place. But while I wait for her to wake up, I'm going to get a few things done here. I've got an order that needs to be sanded. But then I've also got a pile of 4x4. So these were left over when we took out the pool. It was on the other side of these cedars. We took it out. We now have the lower garden beds there as well as a greenhouse. These are just in like the little hammer and spikes kind of thing. So we took out the spikes, we took out these posts. They're perfectly good posts, but they've been sitting here kind of rotting and unintentionally leaning against the wall of the cabin. Probably shouldn't be doing it, but Dan reminded me the other day that we need to put a wider step at the front door, and I've been thinking, I don't have any material for that. And then I was raking up some of the sawdust from here yesterday, and I realized, hey wait, I've got a whole bunch of 4x4 posts that are slowly rotting away. They're PT, but they're still slowly rotting away, doing absolutely nothing. What's stopping me from just cutting them down to make that step wider? We need 2 steps at the front door because the concrete pad, basically the screen room door, is about 12 inches high of a step. And then from the screen room into the kitchen is about another 12 inches. So I kind of need to cut that in half. 2 very low steps, but this is one we've had outside. It's not long enough in order to have the door swinging. So we want to put a much longer one. The width, depth is fine. And then this one will work just fine at the front door once it gets leveled. So all I have to do is make one of those. I can very easily take these, run them through the table saw to cut them down, and make myself a step, which we've needed since we moved here. And I've had this material since we moved here. I never put the 2 together. So, that'll work. Normally, you wouldn't rip down a 4x4 post in order to make decking boards and slightly undersized 2x4s in order to make a front step, but with lumber costs and trying to eliminate material from the property, this works just fine. So as you saw, I passed it through the table saw a number of times, taking incrementally larger and larger cuts. The table saw blade is tall enough to do it basically in 2 passes, but this is pretty dense stuff. It's also a little bit wet, and so that would very much upset my table saw if I tried to get it to do the entire thing in 1 pass, which is why I did slower, smaller, slightly larger and larger and larger and larger cuts. But now I have my little deck board step, which is plenty long enough. I had pulled another 4x4 out in order to do the cross pieces. I don't know what you want to call them. But since this is the cutoff from making my deck boards, I'm just going to use that. that is my step. And earlier I decided, since I had an extra piece, I wanted to put a skirt at the front just to make it look a little bit nicer. So I lined up my deck boards. I put the skirt on the top so that I could measure from the back of the skirt board to the back of my material. I didn't measure to the back of the skirt board, I measured to the front of the skirt board. So now all my little dudes are too long. So I'm just going to cut them off because I don't care. It is 6 o'clock in the morning. Did I mention that? It's very early. So as you can see, there's some sort of a concrete step that runs from here all the way over there, just in front of what would typically be the door area. But it's way too low, and I don't understand. Anyways, I did make that the same height as I had made the previous one. But now that I scraped all of the random dirt and gunk away, it's a little bit shorter than I want it to be. But I do have some material over here. It also wobbles. I do have some more material over here. I think I'm going to put it under as a shim, and if I like it, I'll screw it in place. Well, that's one. You just need to go do the same thing right there. Well, that was kind of anticlimactic. Well, I feel just completely ridiculous because that material has been sitting at our house this entire time. The entire time we've been here, and we've needed those steps there the entire time we've been here. That took all of like an hour. I feel silly. I feel ridiculous. Taking so incredibly long to get that done. But it's done, it's completed, and I can now cross that off the list.
Yeah?